Despite being an 8-year-old device, the Switch 1 has seen an increase in its price. Some retailers have listed Switch 1 as $339. That's a $40 increase. And the Switch OLED has gone from $350 to $399, and the Lite has gone up by $30 from $200 to $230. This is insane to have a device go up in price at this point in its life cycle, especially since we have a successor already out, the Switch 2. And now the gap between the new device and the old one becomes smaller, and that creates confusion. The OLED model is now only $50 less expensive than the newer and way more powerful Switch 2. And yes, I know there are market conditions that need to be analyzed and discussed, and we will in this video, but I still think this is insane and very hard to stomach. Let's get into it. Nintendo also announced that certain accessories will also go up in price, like the alarm clock and the amiibos. And some time ago they increased the price of other accessories like the Pro Controller and the Joy-Cons. So things across the board are getting very expensive for Nintendo fans. Let's get the biggest elephant out of the way first, the tariffs. As of writing and recording this video, I think the tariffs on Japanese products are around 15%. Not great obviously, but not as bad as those 40 to 50% tariffs that we had when all this started months ago, if I remember correctly. It's obvious that many international companies are going to increase prices to compensate for the effects that these tariffs will have on them. To X or Y degree, I can understand that. I can accept that. And we all know that a lot of things are getting more expensive to produce, and there are a lot of expensive components within both Switch 1 and Switch 2. But I don't understand Nintendo here. These are 8-year-old devices, and they know that people are used to paying less for old devices over time. In previous generations, most consoles and handhelds have gone down in price over the years. If I remember correctly with my PS4, I think I paid maybe half of what other people paid when they bought it day one, and I bought it like halfway through the generation. So this is not a smart move for the continued success of the previous generation device, aka the Switch 1. What made so many older consoles have legs and do well after their successor arrived, like the PS2 for example during the PS3 generation, was its low cost. Consoles are supposed to eventually become affordable, and when they get old and when they get replaced by a newer version, the previous one becomes something that people can buy if they can't afford the newer one. And that is why you would want the gap of at least $200 between the generations. So having the base version of Switch 1 be only $110 cheaper than the Switch 2 is insane. And the premium model, the OLED, is only $50 less than the Switch 2. That is even more insane. How can you have the Switch 1 model be priced only $50 less than the Switch 2, even if it is the premium version? This makes no sense. I think one of the main problems here is that Nintendo has way too many Switches in the market at the same time. It's a topic I need to tackle in another video, but the short version is that it's going to be confusing for many people having all these models of the first Switch in stores at the same time as a new Switch 2 is already being sold. And it's even more confusing now for the mainstream non-gamer people thanks to the price increase. The difference between the two devices is less apparent now, at least where the price is concerned. It's even more likely now that some people think that Switch 1 and Switch 2 are the same thing, but one is just a bit more powerful, like how the new Nintendo 3DS was just another 3DS instead of a successor. Do you remember how many people thought that the Wii U was like an add-on for the Wii or another Wii but with a tablet connected to it? It's like people got very confused. And yeah, that's gonna happen again. I understand that companies want to make money, and that's fine. Power to them. Long live the free market and all that. But this is an insane move, because they have the resources and the means to take a small hit for some time. And not even that, because I doubt they would have lost money if they hadn't done the price hike. Maybe they break even at the worst, and I doubt even that, because this is the Switch 1 we're talking about, not the newer and more complex Switch 2, which is more expensive for them to produce. This is Switch 1. I feel they are being greedy and short-sighted here. They shouldn't focus on getting a bigger profit margin on each sale of Switch 1 at this point. They need to focus on doing their best to ensure that they sell as many units as they can instead of trying to make more per each unit sold. Because the more Switches you sell, and the more Switch 2s you sell as well, the more software you can sell. And that is where the real money is, in software, aka in the video games, and in subscription services too, like NSO or Nintendo Switch Online. And the idea of keeping the Switch 1 around while Switch 2 is already a thing is so that they can sell devices to people who can't or won't buy a Switch 2, and you will be losing that audience by increasing the price of Switch 1. And the funny thing is that they didn't increase the price of Switch 2. They are eating the cost there, or breaking even maybe. So why not keep the price of Switch 1 which is the cheaper and easier to produce device, as it is. It makes no sense. If they want to keep making Switch 1 for a few more years, and if they want the Switch 1 to continue to succeed and sell well, then they need to change course and return to the older prices. In fact, I was hoping they would lower the price of Switch 1 at some point, but I take it that a price drop will never happen at this point. Thank you for watching, it means a lot, it always does, and I want to know what your opinion is on the situation. Do you think they're being greedy? What do you think would have happened if they hadn't increased the Switch price? Would they have broken even? Would they have lost money? What do you think they should do going forward? And what do you think the future of Nintendo will be in general? And what are your opinions on Xbox, on PlayStation, on Steam? I want to know anything and everything you want to say. Hit the comments and we'll have a fun conversation about Nintendo, Nintendo Switch 2, and even video games in general. And this is not our first Nintendo Switch video. We've done plenty discussion videos and reactions over these past few months, so feel free to check them out. And we have various playlists for your convenience, like the video games playlist and the discussions playlist, etc. So if you enjoy Nintendo and video games in general, and want to see more videos like this, feel free to subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.